When you're about to do business with someone, whether it's real estate or just general business, purchasing a car, even going into a furniture store, whatever, here's my question for you. Are you just a transaction to that person or are you in a relationship? Stay tuned. I got more. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Inside the Deal Through Michael's Eyes. It's a fresh take on real estate and business in general. My name is Michael Renick, and I am your host for this podcast. In this podcast, we wanted to be hard-hitting. We want to pull the covers back. We want to dive deep about what it takes to succeed in business. I have a partner in crime with me today. If I can hit the right button here, I'm going to promote him and then introduce him. There he is. Hey, Don. So this is Don B. He's the man I call the mortgage coach. Let me explain why. When my clients need a great mortgage person, Don's the only one I turn to. Over the years, he's demonstrated the same passion for business that I have, and it's about business doing business the right way. As we all know, the mortgage process is a complex one. With an extended partner such as Don, we have someone that guides my clients seamlessly through this process and delivers a quality product each and every time. What I personally like about this man is that he does not offer excuses, but instead he works to find a solution even in the most difficult cases. Don, welcome back. How are you?
I'm doing just great today. How are you, Mike?
I'm doing well. I just thought of something, and these are not rehearsed and they're off the cuff. You and I had a great conversation before we went live, and not live, but we hit the record button. I should have recorded that for outtakes and bloopers. That would be good.
Good idea.
So, I've got a bunch of notes here. I know you have a bunch of notes, but I'm not even sure we need the notes right now because we're talking about something basic. And basic is, from a real estate broker's perspective, I want a relationship with my clients. And that means going from the very first time I meet them to years after they purchase or sell a home. It's about doing what we need to get done. It's about doing business the right way. Here's what's interesting. So you look at the end of the year and you look across social media and you see all these posts. I sold 27 million last year. I'm number one on Longboat Key. I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, and I'm thinking, what do your clients think about you? Don, what are your thoughts?
I you know what it's my opinion is it's more than that because I go back to my coaching days and I don't ever remember any game that we ever won because of this one person that maybe somebody made a great play, whatever, but it took all 11 people, and I'm talking about football here, but it took all 11 people, 22, 11 on each side, to make something happen. And, anybody that's listening to this, little conversation, I think integrity matters.
Excuse me. Let me interrupt like I did a week ago. For everyone that's listening.
Yeah, this topic is really personal to me because I don't think about the transaction anymore. And we used to call it the deal. How many deals did you get this month?
Mm-hmm.
It's how many people did you and forget help. I don't want to give the perception that we're here because we just want to serve but we genuinely want to take an interest in the person that we're working with. You can call it whatever you want to call it, but I guess the bottom line is would it really help them make a good decision for themselves? It's not my decision. I could care less about the money tied to the transaction, because putting someone into the right product, the right house is really, it just changes everything. I made this statement to someone the other day, and it was, real estate is the only thing or one of the only things in the United States where people the common person that doesn't come from the gold spoon, where they develop wealth. Real estate is where wealth comes from in the United States.
But
So,
so the key is though is doing that the right way. I can remember, and I know both of us could share many examples, but I had a couple of clients fly down from up north, New York, and they wanted to buy. They didn't really know a whole lot of the area, so we had planned to kind of show them around, show them some properties. So the first house we went into when we exited the home, the couple asked, "Can we write an offer?" And I says, "We can, but do I have your permission to be honest and candid?" And they said, "Absolutely." I says, "If this is the right home, let's wait till the end of the day. I've got 4 others I'd like to show you. And at the end of the day, out of the 5, if none of them are right, that's okay. We've got tomorrow." So that would be my suggestion. Can we write an offer right now? I can do it right now on the spot. But the home will be there later today. It wasn't like it was a couple years ago. So it's more about being honest. Or we had a case, so it had to do with a condo on Longboat Key. And I had the buyer. And the seller who had another agent. I love, my favorite adjective was a stinker. And so they were being very difficult. I mean, we were so close, and they were being very difficult. And I respect that; they have the right to do that. But my buyer asked, "Mike, if you were in my shoes, would you go forward with the transaction?" Because the seller actually backed away from some promises. So I asked my buyer. I said, "Are you really looking for an honest answer?" He said, "Yes." I said, I'd walk away. So the buyer says, "Well, I've got one request. Will you tell that to my wife?" I said, "It's not in your life." I said, "She didn't ask me to be candid and honest on this thing." But it's about, I think our service is the best after the closing. We have met furniture trucks. We have sat in a condo for a day, Eric and I, and we put furniture together for our clients because they weren't in town. We've met the Goodwill truck. We've met electricians. That's what this is all about. That's what the relationship is. It's people working with people. And for folks that are listening or watching that thinks these are just words, they're not. This is how we live our life in terms of, being involved in the community, giving back. What can we do to help? Don, we've worked together for many, many years, and I won't share what the number is because it'll show how old I am. So we won't do that. But it's the philosophies of, there was a case one time you and I were working together, and right off the bat, you did some investigation. You found out that the condo, you guys call them a project, but we call them condo associations, was not going to get approved for a mortgage by anyone. It had way too much debt and lawsuits and stuff like that. But it's being proactive like that. So before my buyer spends a whole lot of time going down that rat hole, you stop it quickly.
That's, this is back to, the topic of, I think it was, we need to be in the same room. We need to really communicate to each other, because in that particular situation, and let me give you the situation opposite of that, where I get involved after the fact, and the borrower has already paid for a home inspection. They've already paid for an appraisal. They've already paid for a condo questionnaire. They're over $1,000, more than that. They're probably $1,300-$1,400 into the transaction, and it comes to me, and I look at the condo association in this example, and I'm thinking about one in particular. I'm thinking, how did it get this far? If I were involved from the beginning, I would have told the realtor first, just so you know, this is the type of financing that would be available for this product, for this project, this association, instead of it getting down the road where now the borrower's into this $1,400 and they got nothing to show for it because they don't want that.
So I'm going to use a 4-letter word here. I love profanity, so bear with me, everyone who's listening right now. What you're talking about is someone like yourself who believes in the philosophy of WORK. That's my 4-letter word, work. I use that all the time. You've done your homework. Why go through the whole? Why let your client, your buyer, incur those costs at no value whatsoever? It's just
we can go on and on with the examples, but student loans, that's a big buzzword these days, right? All the student loan debt. And I'm looking at the paperwork that the borrower gave me after they've been declined by someone else. I'm thinking, how did it make it 2 days before closing and it's got this didn't work, I would have told you before you made the offer, we've got a problem. It just blows my mind. But this is where a lot of times buyers, and I understand, they have a friend that told them that the rate was allegedly better. Well, when you get, this is another little topic for another day, but is the rate really better?
Well, we've done a podcast on that, right? Fake rates and all that kind of stuff.
So back to your point is the consumer needs to know that the realtor, the mortgage company, the title company, insurance, that everybody is talking to each other. Isn't that a novel idea?
And we've lost that. So, Don, I want to thank you for your input. I before we close out this podcast, are you ready to live on the edge?
Oh boy, when you start off with that comment, I get worried, but I'll take the bait and say yes.
So I'm going to jump off the high dive into the deep end. Your name is on the screen, and I'm going to attempt to pronounce it correctly. Bartolomucci. Did I get it even close?
That's very close. Very close.
How do you pronounce
it? Yes, very good. Very good.
All right. And so, Don, for those that are listening, folks that are looking for partners like you and I that do business the right way, or transparent and honest, that's the only way to do business. How would they reach you?
The best is my direct dial. See it there is 941-227-7618.
That brings back, I like to do crazy things. One time you and I were so involved in a discussion, I put you on the spot with a cell number and you got it wrong. I do that too, because I never call myself. But anyway, so putting it on the screen that helps. Those that are listening or watching, I want to thank you. This is just another reason why we have the strong passion about business being done right. It's not just real estate. It's not just mortgages. It's anything. And we've shared on other podcasts all kinds of horror cases. We've got to come back to basics. We've got to do things the way I was taught and you were taught being brought up. But Don, I want to thank you, and we'll be back for another episode down the road.
Good to be here, Mike.
All right. Take care, Don.
All right. Bye-bye.